I'm Marcus. I was the project leader together with my valued colleague Thomas Zuchtwiegel together at Audi for the last 3.5 years here. And meanwhile, I'm also in charge of the general strategy for the introduction of immersive technologies in our company. And I guess this shows that this topic gets more and more popular and important also from the business side. So the Audi VR Experience, the Audi VR Experience is still, I guess, more as the name is promising in the first moment, because it is a combined marketing and sales application. It's deeply integrated, completely integrated into our sales systems, what means without want to make other applications small, of course, but we can have some cool stuff to present new features in cars, but we also are able to show all of our cars and features, the complete product range. And yeah, I want to share some information with you guys about the background, what was our motivation, share some lessons learned we had, and also want to give a small view into the future and tell you why we are thinking that's really VR in general, or immersive technologies, and also our application is a view into the future of digital retail. So I tried it now first time. Let's see. Yes. So yeah, the background. Why we develop such digital sales tools? Cars are normally really real, and you need a test drive and so on. We don't want to replace that. That's important. But we need, meanwhile, new technologies to explore more and more complex cars. Let's take a look back. 70 years ago, approximately, the sales process was that people was going to the dealership, and the dealer has some prospects and showed the car, and they talk about the options. There was not much options at this time, so it was easy to go that way. Meanwhile, the world has changed. It's getting more digitalized. We have social change and so on. So our complete life is different. It's in many things different comparing to the past history. But to be honest, the sales process is nearly the same. And this was okay in the past, but now it causes more and more problems for us because our product range increased dramatically. So, for example, Audi has 52 different models, including all derivatives. We have hundreds of options, complex systems, and the old school approach is not the right one anymore and has no value for the customers. That's also the reason why people don't go to the dealership anymore, only to talk about the price or discuss about the price, not to get a good guidance by the dealer. And at Audi we said we have to change something. We have to think about how we can use digital technology to add value, to surprise people, to give them a reason to go to the dealerships. And with that in our mind, we started 2012 with the Audi Cities. From this year, there's a following format. It's called My Audi Sphere. And those digital flagship stores we introduce in exclusive city locations, which are very expensive, of course, where we don't have the possibilities to bring in a huge dealer, so with 400 square meters around about, and we have digital modules inside, room-high display walls and so on. We can show the cars one-to-one, and those are also our digital laboratories where we prove new technologies. So beside that, of course, we have to take care about our more than 2,300 dealers and have to offer digital sales modules for them as well. Yeah, so there is something available already, but it's all screen-based. I guess it's a step in the right direction, of course, and it's better than if you configure your car only at the internet. But yeah, from this year, as most guys of you know for sure, we introduce virtual reality at our dealerships. And VR is a very, very powerful technology, very promising for us, and this was completely new 3.5 years ago at the sales side. So we was quite early in the beginning of this new VR wave with this development. Later in the panel, I guess I talk about a little bit more about the roots and the decision behind, which we made more than 3 years ago to really go with much effort into this direction. And so yeah, but what happened? What was the challenge from the development side for us? So on one side, we had some technical challenge, which you guys are familiar with for sure. We need this high performance, low latency, to avoid sickness, of course. This is the most important thing. People have to be comfortable if they use VR. And also demanding, we need a photorealistic visualization. If you want to buy a car for maybe 100,000 euro, we have to show the car as realistic as it's possible. Of course, there are some limitations today with the first generation, due to the first generation of the technology with the low resolution, but in the future we are convinced that it will be getting much better, but there's still an value already with the Vive and the Oculus. And yeah, how we achieved the photorealistic visualization was our approach. First of all, we said we have to use our digital car models. So those data are already there, and they are high value, and they have an advantage that they are absolutely correct. We have each detail, we have each screw, maybe that's not important for the sales process, but also on the surface and so on, each detail are contained already, but you can't show a fluently VR animation with those models. And so one of our first steps was to develop a process where we reduced, we reduced those models to 5 to 7 million polygons. So you can see that several times more than in modern video games, and this was challenging as well. But the good thing with that is that we don't use textures to simulate any kinds of geometry. If you go very close to details, and VR is that very important, there's still geometry further, and so there's no fake anywhere. But this is also the reason why we have a very powerful PC behind with two K6000 currently, I guess. So professional graphic cards from NVIDIA. And that means the system is maybe expensive, but affordable for a dealer. And so we can guarantee that you have a higher visual quality than at home. This was one of our main goals here. We want to add a value for the customers if they go to a dealership, and they should have some experience which they couldn't have at home. So let's take a look at the progress. In the beginning, of course, we had 50 frames, 45 milliseconds latency. It was a little bit challenging for us to find the right graphic engine in the past. 2013, Unity and Unreal wasn't focused on VR. And so we worked together with a specialist from United Kingdom with DIGILITY. They optimized Unity for VR, and we achieved this performance at this time. Yeah, and then within the next years, you see, we made a little progress regarding the frames. With the Oculus DK2, we achieved the 70 frames, 30 milliseconds. Sickness was not that big problem anymore. And from this year, we are ready for rollout with our target goals. That means we achieved the 90 frames and 20 milliseconds latency. And you see there's a big step within the visual quality, especially the surroundings, the reflections are very, very important for a realistic impression. This is one lesson learned we had. In the beginning, we showed the car in a little bit boring salt sea environment, as normally car companies do that. But then the car doesn't feel that natural, especially in VR, because there are no reflections, not enough reflections. And that's the reason why we introduced those much more realistic surroundings with those are more than 360 spheres. There's real geometry inside. Therefore, everything looks correct, and you really have a high immersion, and you're thinking you're in front of the car and can move along the car. Okay. Beside that, we had, of course, conceptual needs and challenges. So we want to create a high relational value, show our cars, explain technology, of course, and make it easier for our customers to decide which option is the right one for myself. But we also said we want to bring in some emotional value. We want to use the power of VR. And I would say it was not the main idea from the beginning, but it grew step by step, that we realized there's so much more potential with this technology, and we should use that to create something completely new, which allows us to establish a unique sales experience. And that's an important point from my perspective. Yes, VR is an important part of this sales application, maybe the most important from the technical side, but that we can fit the experience to customers' needs and interests. This is also partly revolutionary from our point of view, and I want to show and tell you why. So this is our pyramid. We have rational aspects and content types. Of course, this is the car configurator I mentioned before. That's elementary for a car company. Of course, we have to show our product range in the sales application. But beside that, we added some additional features which are VR powered, only possible in VR. So we have the X-ray view, which you will see in the next video following that chart. We have different environments, as for example the moon. So many people ask me, serious, at the moon, why you do that? Of course, we have also normal surroundings, as city or nature and so on. But people are really touched and excited if you allow to make things which are not possible in reality. That's the moment where you get them. And I really can say that that's the experience from all my presentations of the last few months with our application. If you show our Type C sport wagon on the moon maybe, you will see it later, then people are really touched and they say, hey, wow, that's not possible at home and not in reality. I'm really impressed right now. Okay, and there's one more. I announced it here, I guess, first time. We will also show one of those cinematics very soon. We have a high emotional additional part. We create VR cinematics, short cinematics between 100 and 200 seconds, which fitting to the interests of our dealers. If you are sportive interested, a customer, for example, you will be able to be a part of some special moments in the future, maybe of the Audi sport history. If you're interested in other topics, we will also create more of those. And the idea is that we use them as an introduction for our customers. They will have this great experience. I'm so sorry that I can't tell more about this today, but very soon. And then they start to the normal configuration process. So, okay, now let's take a look how looks it like concretely. We have our standard setup for normal dealerships, where you're in a controlled situation of a sales talk on the sales desk. And yeah, I showed this video beside. You can see we have high visual quality on the screen as well. This is one of the positive side effects. So the most of the time people are looking on the normal screen, and VR is an addition, finally. My colleague here is wearing the Oculus Rift, of course. I have the iPad, and I'm able to control his position. I'm also able to change colors and so on, and the whole configuration. Not only rims and colors, things you would expect, also smallest detail are completely accurate here. If you change, for example, the ISOFIX child seat fixation, you will have the glimpse on the seat. So this is the detail level we achieve with that. And we also have a concept with a remote where he is able to change his position and manipulate the car by itself. This was also one important lesson. Many people could go deeper into this experience if they're able to do it by their own. They don't want to ask, bring me behind the car, in front of the car. They want to make it by themselves. It intensifies the experience, and people like that this concept was developed by our friends from Reflect Munich. So we had several companies, I will show them later, which helped us here to establish, to generate that. So we piloting this system currently at 6 dealerships here in Germany. I can say with really good results, so very promising for us. And within the next week, we start the order process for all dealerships, and so we expect the launch end of 4th quarter or maybe beginning of the 1st quarter 2017 at normal dealerships. Beside that, we have a kind of advanced setup, which is room scaled, and that allows us to offer a much more natural experience to the customer. He can really explore the car in a natural way, and that gives this higher degree of freedom, intensivate the experience. And I can show you that here with this video. Once again, we have always a huge screen, and you're also able to see the car there, so your partner, the dealer, and so on is able to see as well what you're talking about. And yeah, here in that case, of course, I'm starting in the car. So here we can look around all the things you would expect from a good VR application. Of course, we can manipulate the car, open the door, and so on. And beside that, here is it also possible to change the surrounding. For example, here now we are in Iceland, which looks much better than the city, to be honest. And of course, Johannes is also able to change the position of the car. And now I can stand up, walk along the car and get a really natural impression of it. And here with this higher degree of freedom, it's possible, for example, here at this R8 to take a closer look to the engine, and not only a close look to it, I'm also able to look inside. And this is one of the effects people really love, and if they're really excited if they can take a look what's behind, why I have to pay so much money for this car. Yeah. Beside that, I guess we will change the surrounding here once more. I guess that's one of the main message. You know your customer very good as a dealer normally. You should at least. And so you can say, you can choose the surrounding he likes. You can show him the effects he likes. You can show him additional content. From next year, we want also add some 360 video content, which shows the functionalities of our options and systems at the car from the driver perspective, so that we have also more value here in this part. And as promised, as the last point here, we want to show once again the Type C sports wagon from DKW, and yeah, I guess that's a good example. We have so many people and customers who love classic cars in the States, in China, and so on. Then it's not possible for them to fly to Germany to the Audi Museum, and that's also not possible in the Audi Museum. So they can really take a look at each screw, and you give them a good feeling, additional information, some fun, but also value regarding the information quality, and that's still the idea behind. So, okay, let's take a look what we plan with that setup. We're piloting that at our Audi cities now in the fourth quarter, and here we have to invest a little bit more development time because it's a more uncontrolled situation. Of course, we have to bring in some security. Yeah, how should I say that, features to avoid that people were running against the wall and so on. We don't know if the chaperones are enough right now, so that's things we investigate currently, and those setup will be available for our dealerships as well in the future. To install them, it costs more effort. Maybe we need a second generation of glasses. Therefore, dealers can replace real cars inside. The first generation is, from the quality side, not good enough to achieve that. And yeah, that's still our current plan. The thing is, we had a really good team for that. It's only a part, to be honest, only the half of them. It was not possible to bring all of them together. And one of the things I want to say, we had great partners here. Dominic, who's making the other speech right now from NVIDIA, those guys was really helpful for us. Oculus was partner from the beginning. I can remember Palmer and Brandon was in Ingolstadt in the beginning of all of this. It was really amazing and inspiring to work with this guys. Zero Light, which made a good visual engine. Bang & Olufsen helped us with the sound. The named guys from Reflect, which have a presentation today later here. And HTC, meanwhile, of course, as well. So, and also some Audi experts in a well-mixed team with real startup feeling inside a big company as Audi. This was, for me, also within my career, the most exciting time. And I'm looking forward to the things which are in front of us. And the best this is only the beginning. Much more to come, and I'm looking forward to tell you more. And now thank you very much that I had a chance to share a little bit those impressions and ideas with you. Thank you very much.